All right, we're live. All right, everyone. I don't know how many people are out there right now, but thanks for joining us. I've got my friend Brian here, Big Dog Whiskey on TikTok. If you're on TikTok, go give him a follow.
How's everybody doing today? Hopefully everybody's having a good Thursday afternoon, pre-evening, whatever you want to call it. Pre-evening? I don't know.
Well, it's the evening for me, though.
Right.
I get up early in the morning, so it's my evening.
Right.
Yeah, but thanks for joining us today, David. I saw you commented in the about my hat. It's not a no hat hat. It's a new hat. Got a new hat on.
And
So,
he brought a friend with a hat too.
yeah,
So we have two hats today.
So you had to go two hats. That would have been the proper guess. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Eric. So Bryant's over here tonight. He came to fill in and sit here and chat with us, and he brought some fresh cracks. So why don't you show them what we're going to be opening later?
All right. Later, we are going to be opening the Seal Box 20-year American Light Whiskey. Really excited to crack this one open.
Too.
I'm a huge light whiskey fan. For all the folks that haven't gotten into light whiskey or didn't get a chance to try the Penelope 17-year, I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, 20 years, and it's a hazmat, right?
Hazmat, 142 proof.
142 proof, 20-year light whiskey. That's going to be great. You got another bottle, too.
And we also have the Woodford Reserve Chocolate Redux. I think that was at 139 proof.
Yeah, 139.4.
139.4. I've heard some good things about it. I'm really excited about trying those. So those are my fresh cracks for today.
Yeah, those are two spectacular fresh cracks. Some of the other channels that I done live with and stuff have said this is really, really good. The guys on Bourbon and Balls say that they're contender for Whiskey of the Year. So It's going to be exciting to give that a try. And to start off with, I'm going to open one of my bottles that I never opened. It is a Remus Repeal Batch 6. So I've had that for a couple of years and just never opened it.
Okay.
So I figured we pop that open. It's a little lower proof to get us started. 100 proof. So before we hit that 130 and 140. All right, so here we go. Good pop.
Great pop.
Cheers, everyone. Renee says save her a pour. We got to save her a pour that get her a sample of that chocolate.
Absolutely.
Redo, whatever it's called.
Yeah, redo. Yeah.
Redo. It's French, right? I don't know. I don't speak French. All right. Trevor, good evening. What's everybody drinking tonight? See, people are starting to file in. Donald, cheers. If you missed it, Bryant was just showing us what fresh cracks we're going to be trying tonight. He brought the Woodford Reserve Chocolate Whisper Redo and a Seal Box 20-year American Light Whiskey at 142 proof, so hazmat. So they're both going to be fresh cracks. It's going to be awesome.
And we're doing a fresh crack of Remus Repeal.
That's what we just poured. Remus Repeal 6. All right, so Bryant is I met him in Bourbon Line, much like I met Patrick.
Yeah.
And some of the other friends we have, like in our club and stuff like that.
Right.
Actually, the first time we met was we went overnight to get a stag.
Yeah, stag. It was the first time that Ohio had released stag since before COVID. So we're out and we're hunting stag. A whole year had went by, no stag.
We didn't have stag for a whole year in 2020, right? 2021? 2021.
2021.
We had no stag in Ohio.
Yeah.
In 2022, it finally dropped for the first time, and everybody was looking for it that week. And so that's a nice one, Paul. Paul's having the Wild Turkey 70th.
Okay.
So we went, and it was like midnight. I showed up at the local liquor store at midnight. I was like, I'm going to wait all night to get the stag. I didn't have a stag yet.
Yeah.
It was going to be my first stag, and Bryant was already there.
Yeah.
So we ended up waiting all night at the store. It was cold and snowing. And then the next morning when they finally opened up, they didn't have stag.
So,
we
didn't have stag. We waited all night, but the best consolation prize was that I got to meet Todd, and we've been talking ever since.
Yeah, we've been friends ever since, and you come over and open bottles and come over to my the parties I have and stuff like that. So it ended up being a nice.
Yeah,
nice
absolutely.
To meet somebody.
I've met some of my best friends buying bourbon, drinking bourbon, and Todd's the best example of that.
Yeah. So and then I started. I invited you over a couple of times. You finally came over and we opened a whole bunch of bottles.
Yeah.
And then the next time Brian came over, he's like, "Well, I'm going to bring a bottle to open next time." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, bring whatever." And he comes over and he brings like an old Rip 10-year, Thomas H. Handy. I can't even remember what else, but he's like, all these like huge bottles. I was like, "Oh my gosh."
It's the best part about being having a group of whiskey friends, those bottles that are sitting on the shelves collecting dust, you have a reason to open them.
Yeah.
When you have a monster bottle, it's no fun opening that bottle by yourself. I do it.
100% agree.
Sometimes there's bottles that I'm like, I just can't wait, I have to open it. But when you have somebody to open it with, it makes it a little bit easier to crack those bottles open.
Cheers, Sonda. I'm definitely looking forward to the Barrel Pick 2 next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, and Sugar Kitty, thank you for dropping by. Nice to see you in here. So yeah, I agree 100%. I like to open my bottles with other people, like kind of my bigger bottles. In fact, after I got my Jack 14, I made the trade for it. I was just dying to open it. So I actually texted Brian and said, "Why don't you come over this week just so we can open this bottle?" And, because he did that last year with me for the Russell's 15.
Right.
Yeah, you called one day and said, "Hey, are you home? I'm going to stop by after work." And he walks in with the Russell's 15, and we fresh cracked it.
Hey, that bottle, I got it early that morning. I think I got it sometime in August. It was like 90 degrees outside, and I left it in my car. I couldn't wait to get off work. I get off work, the bottle's still warm, and I'm like, let's crack this baby open. We had some warm-ups before we got to it, but I pull it out. I think Todd thought I brought him McDonald's, but it was a Russell's 15 in the back.
Yeah. Trevor, you missed out your first stag drop last September. You missed out, but you got the single barrel. It's a good consolation prize.
Single barrel's a good bottle.
Single barrel's a good bottle. So that's not too bad. I've done the same thing actually. There's a video where Devin and I went to one of the Acme's. We were waiting for stag, and they ended up not having it. We got the single barrel instead.
Now, what wasn't a good prize, and I saw Renee talk about it earlier, instead of getting stag when Todd and I waited, we got Eagle Rare, and that is not a good trade-off.
That was not a good trade-off for waiting for midnight till the next morning. That was not a good deal. David just poured some Henry McKenna 10-year. Cheers, David.
David, that's Henry McKenna 10-year is one of the whiskeys that got me into bourbon. I went to one of our local stores, and I was shopping for Uncle Nearest for a gift for one of my friends. And the guy at the store goes, "Hey, we have one more of these bottles left. Do you want it?" I don't know anything about Henry McKenna 10-year, but it was coming off of it winning Whiskey of the Year. And so I buy it, I crack it open, and I'm like, I'm a fan of bourbon now.
Because before that, you're just drinking Crown, right?
Drinking Crown Royal, Uncle Nearest, I would mix some other whiskeys in there, but Crown Royal was my preferred whiskey. So,
Trevor, the Balboa Rye, it's a really nice, good bottle. That new Balboa Rye, I like.
I haven't had the new one yet, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, I have the older one. I don't have the newer one, but we did pop them open at one of the get-togethers, and we drank them. We tried them side by side. They're both really good. Yeah. So they're all good. Group Crush Cracks are the best. Yeah, Paul, they are absolutely.
And
Paul, I'd say open some epic ones. Yeah,
absolutely.
Willett Purple Top, William LaRue Weller, JD Coy Hill, the Hazmat Coy Hill.
Handy,
yeah.
Yeah.
Sonda's having the 24D Stag. I like Stags. I'm a Stag fan.
I like Stag. 24D was a good one too. We tried that.
Yeah.
A couple months ago.
We did all four.
All four.
We did the whole lineup. Yeah.
That was a rough night. All four Stag batches. 11, 12, and 13 of E.H. Taylor barrel proof. Yeah. And then about 10 other samples and some blinds in there. Yeah. It was a big list that night, and there was a lot of high proof. So
yeah. It was I'd take a break the next day.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd take a break the next day for sure. Bond Eternal 7-year. Do you know anything of that? What? I don't know that one.
I don't know that one.
David
either.
B. I'm not familiar with that. Bond Eternal. Never heard of it.
I'll
All
do-
stag. Well, when we did the vertical, yeah, we did A, B, C, and D from last year release. We did them all in a single flight.
And the other whiskey sipper is the one that talked us into doing 11, 12, and 13
Devin.
of the Taylor. So
Yeah,
Devin, I know he's working away, keeping us safe.
Yeah.
But that was a day he was a bad influence. So
yeah. Yeah, he's a big Taylor fan. He loves those barrel proof. So when I cracked open the 13, he's like, we need to do all these.
Yeah.
We can't just have one.
Yeah.
So we ended up doing them all. Brad, you're drinking beer. Brad, you disappoint me. Let's see. David said he's bringing a couple of bottles to Hard Truth to crack. David is going to be on the pick team. He's one of the ones who won a spot. So
okay.
I'm bringing something too. I haven't said what it is, but I'm bringing a bottle I think everybody will be excited to try.
Okay. I'm going to find out what it is after we're offline since I won't be there. So I'll know ahead of you guys, though, but I'll be rooting for you guys. So.
David said he got all of his stags this year, 23 A, B, and D. A was my, or 23B, 24A, and D.
Yeah.
24A was my favorite from last year out of those four.
I agree.
I think 24A was the best of the batch.
Yeah, I can't remember where I lined up on the rest of them. I think I might have been A, B, D, C, or A.
I think B was my least favorite. If I remember right.
Maybe it was A, D, C, B.
Something like
so
that.
something like that. So,
but I mean, they were all good. I mean, it's hard to say. There's not really a bad stag.
Yeah.
It's just some aren't as good as others. Especially when we, here in Ohio, we get them at MSRP, so we're not. You're paying $65, so you can't be too disappointed with that.
Right.
So I saw that yesterday, Wild Turkey 8-year dropped in Kentucky.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was dropped like cases of it at like a liquor. I think it was a liquor barn. I think it was a liquor barn.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's hitting the shelves now, and it was, I mean, a bunch of it. I think they had like a 1 case limit for people.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was like 40, 49, something like that, right around there, right around just a little under 50. It was like 45, 99, something like that.
Just a few days off. I just left there 5 days ago. 5 days. Oh man, I would have loved to grab one.
Yeah, it's a little bit late.
Yeah.
But my guess is it's going to be all over now. If it's starting to drop, like in Lexington area, that's where it was. It's going to be all over Kentucky pretty soon. I don't know when it'll get here to Ohio.
Yeah. I'll be in Michigan in 2 weeks, so I'll keep an eye out.
Well, since we'll be down there next week, I know.
Absolutely.
After the barrel pick, the next day we're going to Louisville.
Okay.
So I'll be in Louisville that Saturday. So I'll be looking for it for sure.
Okay.
With the high proof, too many stag, more about keeping your balance. I don't know how much it was. We were pretty lit that night.
Yeah, it was a rough night, and I could be wrong, but I'm almost thinking that was that the day before the Super Bowl.
I think it was. Yeah, it was.
And I went to a Super Bowl party the next day. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was the day before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was. It was the night before. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Sugar Kitty. It was a long day. The next day, but once I got my wind going, it was pretty good.
The hair of the dog and all that.
Yeah.
Brad just dropped 320 for the Buckner's 15.
Oh. And
added a stag and a larceny. Budget's blown. Yeah. So Brad did a barrel pick with another Whiskey Tube channel.
Okay.
For the Buckner's 15 year.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So he got to go and experience that for the Augusta Buckner Distillery.
Right.
Which, if I remember right, Brad, it was almost a 16, right? It was like 5 years or 15 years, 11 months or something like that. But yeah, so the Wild Turkey 8 years now dropping. And I expect that to be a staple. I mean, they said it's going to be a shelfer. Now, that's not taking into account people freaking out when it first drops, and everybody goes and buys all of it up because they think it's going to be allocated. Yeah. But it should eventually get to the point where it's just going to be on the shelf. So I'm looking forward to that. But really, it's just a 101, a couple of years older.
Right.
But for like almost double the price. Yeah, I'll still get one.
I'm going to still get one, too.
I'll still get one. I just probably won't get a whole bunch. I'm not gonna go out and buy a case of them, but I'll buy one.
Yeah, and people will buy them up, and yeah, I mean, there'll be people out there going, "Oh, this bottle's gonna be worth something someday," and it's not.
Yeah, they're gonna have a lot of that.
Yeah,
I mean, they ramped up production. They're just gonna have more and more of it.
Yeah,
that's kind of like when Traveler first dropped.
oh.
People here in Ohio were running out to buy as much of it as they could and trying to flip it on secondary.
Yeah,
and like within a week, so much of it was out that they weren't able to do anything. Wasn't flipping because you can just buy it anywhere.
And I think after people tried it, you couldn't flip it either. It's terrible. I am not a Traveler's fan.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if that is your whiskey, I apologize. It just wasn't my favorite. So
thanks for joining us, Brian. I see you're driving. You might be able to answer, but I'm curious what barrel pick you guys did. I didn't know you guys were on one today, but that's awesome. Barrel picks,
awesome.
I love them.
Love barrel picks.
I love barrel picks. I'm looking excited to the one we do in Wilderness Trail with you guys. In when is that? May, right? It's May.
Yeah.
It's May. And of course, looking really forward to next week at Hard Truth. I'm really excited for that one. I'm a huge Hard Truth fan. I'm just really happy we're going to get in there and get to do a pick with them. And I want to build a relationship with them so when their bourbon becomes available for single barrels, I can get in right away and do a pick for their bourbon.
Right.
Sugar Kitty. Traveler clearly traveled over to Canada and came back. Yeah, it's absolutely a blend. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, there's some
I drink
caribou in there.
Yeah, I drink it, and I know it's a blend. I know it's and when I say straight whiskey, I'm saying that there's nothing but whiskey, but it almost tastes like it's finished or there's something else in there. It doesn't taste like regular Canadian whiskey and whatever mash bill that was from Buffalo Trace. It tastes like they finished it in something, and it is not my favorite.
Not Caribou Canadian Mist.
Yeah.
Black Velvet. I don't know, something. It was
not good.
It's, you know what? Actually, here's the thing. I think for someone who's maybe not used to drinking whiskey,
absolutely,
it's a great pour to give somebody who's new to it because it's just kind of sweet. And it's not overpowering, and they can sip on it, and that's fine. For people who are more attuned or, drink a lot more bourbon or whiskey, you're not going to like it as much. And also, it's too expensive for what it is. It should be a $20 bottle.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I have a friend, and me and another buddy was drinking an Old Forester barrel proof pick, and it was just fabulous. So he's like, "Oh, let me have a pour of that." I give him a pour of that. He's like, "Oh, this is the worst thing ever." I look over and he's mixing it with Coke. and it just wasn't his jam. Same guy. Because at this point, I'm like, I have to get rid of this Traveler. So I'm pulling it off on everybody I can. He absolutely loved the Travelers. I'm like, please drink as much as you want.
Yeah. So I think it's great for people who don't normally drink whiskey because it's sweet. It's not inoffensive.
Yeah.
It's just not, if you're a whiskey drinker, it's not what you're going to like. So, Brian, you guys did a 6-year new rye pick at New Riff. Awesome. I love New Riff. Yeah. We did a rye. You were on the rye pick.
I was on the rye pick last year, and it was great.
Yeah. It was the 4-year. It wasn't the 6-year.
Yeah.
But still, it was a really good pick.
Yeah.
Came up with
6-year rye this year. I heard 6-year bourbon next year.
That's what I've heard. That's what they hinted at when we were at the distillery doing our pick for the channel. In which case, I'll be back next year doing a 6-year pick for sure. So Sugar Kitty says Sazerac owns Canadian Mist. That's why she said that. I did not know that either. I know they own a ton of brands. I don't know outside of kind of the bourbon stuff. I don't really keep track of it. Caribou Crossing's the only one I know. He is looking forward to the Wild Turkey 8-year, but he's heard the Wild Turkey 12-year and the Rare Breed Uncut Unfiltered are going to be on shelves. Now, I have heard that about the Uncut Unfiltered, which has been a travel exclusive, and I've actually had it before, and there is a difference. There's a distinct difference from that and the regular Rare Breed. But I did not hear that about the Wild Turkey 12 here in the States. So
the production's up around. I can believe that that they could be saying, hey, we have a lot of this 12-year juice. Let's go ahead and get it out to the masses because it'll be a big seller.
Yeah, I'm sure. I wonder what they'll $90. I think they'll go $90. $90.
90 sounds about right.
Yeah, which is a little less than secondary is right now.
I hope 90. I mean, sometimes Wild Turkey's prices, you never know.
Cheers, Stan. Thanks for joining us. Let us know what you're drinking out there, everybody. I know we had some people tell us, but If you're new, just let us know what you're drinking. We'll call it out.
Wild Turkey 8-year.
Wild Turkey 8-year versus Jimmy 70th. So the Jimmy 70th to me. So they're different. They're absolutely different. They're not the same. They're both 8 years old, but the 70th was a completely different blend that was specifically made to match more Jimmy's like personal preference and palate than just the standard 8-year.
And it is fabulous.
Yeah, I love the 70th. Yeah, I like it better than the regular 8, or at least the 8 that's in Japan. Right? Yeah. That's what I've had before.
That's the one I've had before too.
So the one that here, the 8-year that gets released, I was assuming the same one they're selling overseas. Mm-hmm. It's going to be the same type of blend. Let's see. I have some Linkwood Scotch. Oof, I can't comment on that.
I am not a big Scotch fan. You know, the peatiness and different things like that. Those aren't for me. You know, they're either. But I haven't tried a lot either. You know, there's a lot of folks out there that are like, hey, you should try this Scotch because it's more like bourbon. You know, I've had a few, and now I'm a little bit afraid of, some of the Scotch, and I guess I guess not really being afraid is spending that money on them. And I don't have any friends that are in the Scotch
because you can't bring it over here.
Yeah. I buy a lot of bourbon. I don't know that I can afford to jump into the Scotch game too, not knowing what I really like. So.
Stan, I agree. The uncut unfiltered rare breed. I don't know if you've had it or you're just like excited to try it, but I have had a sample.
I've had a sample too.
Yeah, and it's definitely different. It's really oily and stuff. Got a lot of. You can tell there's a difference between when it's chill filtered and it's not.
Right.
For sure. She said the Linkwood has no peat at all. Okay. I've only had a few scotches, and kind of like Brian, I'm not going to go out and buy a bottle of scotch because I don't trust it. You know, not that I wouldn't try it. Like I've had all I've tried have been samples.
Yeah.
People have sent me some samples, and they haven't sent me a sample one I really like yet. So
Not, like if somebody's somewhere and they're like, "Hey, try this scotch," I'll try it.
Sure.
You know, I do a lot of big bottles for tailgating, and if any of you guys are ever on TikTok, and I think Todd said this earlier, Big Dog Whiskey on TikTok.
It's Big Dog _
Big Dog _ whiskey on TikTok.
Yeah.
But you'll see a lot of my tailgate videos, and some of our tailgates are better than bourbon tastings. We have some really good bottles out there, but I take good bottles, and one of my buddies is like, "Hey, you always give me good whiskey. Here, try this one." I'm like, "Oh, what is it?" And so I try it. I think it was like a Macallan 12-year sherry cask, and I guess that's supposed to be a good one. I was not a fan of that one. So, and it was a surprise too. So surprises don't always work for you.
Paul saying try Glenfiddich 14-year finished and used bourbon barrels.
Okay.
Somebody have to send me a sample. That's the only way I'm trying any scotch. Same with like Irish whiskey. Somebody have to send me a sample. And if I tried it and really liked it, I would buy one. But I'm not going to go buy a bottle.
Paul, does there happen to be a bottle of that down in the whiskey warehouse? Like, is that something?
I bet you there is. He's got like 800 bottles down there.
Yeah, we'll have to give that a whirl the next time that I'm over there. Yeah. So I will take your word for it until I try it.
Stan says he's sipping on some Elijah Craig Private Barrel, 131 proof. Mm-hmm. Elijah Craig is always good. You'll have the barrel proofs, the private barrels. Generally, they're all pretty good. I have had a few private barrels I didn't like. Mm-hmm. Some of them are younger when you do the private barrels, and they can be a little over nutty to me.
Yeah,
but a lot of them are really good too.
Yeah, the age makes a big difference.
Yeah. So, do we want to move on to the Woodford? I mean, I think we do the Woodford first.
You want to do the Woodford first?
I think we should do the Woodford first.
Let's do the Woodford first. I'll let you keep talking while I should have taken this wrapper off.
So we're going to be trying this Woodford Chocolate Whisper Redo. Heard a lot about it. It's supposed to be real good. Very excited to try this and see if I need to go pay $100 for a 375. If I can even find it for that much. It's expensive for a 375. Thoughts on Penelope Havana? So I personally didn't like it because it really, the rum came through very heavy to me, and I'm not just a big rum fan. It tasted like blackstrap molasses.
Yeah. I will say, if you're into finished whiskeys, you like some of the sweeter things, I think that you may like Penelope Havana. I had Penelope Havana. I thought it had a really good taste to it. However, it is, as a person that is mainly a straight whiskey drinker, it is not something that I would turn to on a regular basis.
Yeah. So my wife liked it, but my wife likes this kind of like sweeter rums too. So to her, she said it reminded her of drinking a rum, and she liked it. Just not for me, because I don't drink rum. Neat.
Okay.
I just drink whiskey. All right, we ready to pop this open?
I see some other people commenting on the Glenfiddich 14. A lot of bourbon drinkers like that. I did see that Paul says that he has one. So I'll get to try a Glenfiddich 14. And maybe that's a video. Glenfiddich 14 against the bourbon. I don't know.
Try some scotch.
Yeah, try
scotch
some
video.
Scotch. All right, we're going to do a fresh crack of the Woodford Reserve Chocolate Whisper Redux.
There we go.
Didn't love that pop.
Good enough. Good. It was good. It was
Good enough.
Plenty good. Skull. Paul said he wanted to get the redo, but was unlucky and couldn't find one. Well, I think right now, as far as I know, they're only at the distillery.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I didn't get this myself, so
let this sit for a few minutes.
I have a buddy who we were both in Kentucky last weekend, and I went in one direction, and they went over to Buffalo Trace and the Woodford Reserve, and he texted me, and he's like, "Hey, they have the Chocolate Whisper redo. Do you want one?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm not going to make it over there." He's like, "I got you." So they obviously let him buy more than one. And he was with a group of guys. Somehow I got one, and I just picked it up today. And I've had it in my possession right around 8 hours, and now it's fresh cracked. So
that's the way to do it. That's perfect. See now, Sugar Kitty, I see your message here, but I can't even pronounce that. I have a hard enough time pronouncing redo.
Glenmorangie.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. I see. I don't know, Stan. I think it's pronounced redo, right? Isn't it French, right? Wouldn't it be redo?
I've heard it redo. I've heard it redux. Okay.
Distillery only.
Distillery only.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm not 100% sure how it's pronounced. I'm thinking it's pronounced redo, just because I think that's kind of how the French pronounce that.
Right.
That UX.
Yeah.
The hell do I know?
Right.
I'm just a guy in Ohio. Oh, it's got a great nose, though.
I haven't smelled it yet. I'm looking at these oily legs on this thing.
Oh.
Paul
says it's going to be Kentucky at the end of the month.
The chocolate jumps off.
Yeah,
right
for
away.
Sure. It absolutely has a chocolate note.
Yeah.
She says it's pronounced like a fruit. Glenmorangie. I guess that's
Morangi.
Morangi.
Did I get that right, Sugar Kitty? Glenmorangie?
It is chocolate. Yeah. It smells like chocolate. Like if you put some cocoa powder in it or something.
Orange? More orange?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. See, I would have to find a scotch I can pronounce. Like orange the fruit. Glenmorangie. Glenmorange. Redo.
I've heard Redo too.
I have no idea. This is what happens when you get outside of a bourbon, an American spirit. You start getting stuff I can't pronounce.
Man, this is a solid.
That is a very good nose. I mean, it's like the chocolate is overpowering. It's like you almost can't catch anything else. I do get like a little bit of, like maybe a little bit of like a dark fruit.
I'm getting a dark fruit too.
Put it in front of the orange. Okay. Yeah, I get like a dark fruit and chocolate, like cocoa powder.
Yeah.
And we are drinking out of our whiskey sipper Glens. Still about 12 left in the shop. Okay. Ready to give this a try?
Let's give it a try. Cool. Cheers.
That's the best Woodford I've ever had.
100% the best Woodford I've ever had. I like their batch proof, but this is better than their batch proof.
This is better than their batch proof, and it's better than the double oak.
Yeah. I'm getting, speaking of Glen Morangi, I'm getting a little orange bitters on the finish. Definitely the chocolate is still
the chocolate
coming
the
through.
Chocolate is prominent.
Yeah. Dark chocolate. Yeah. This isn't a milk chocolate. This is
a
a dark chocolate.
Yeah. It's got that little bit of bitterness you would get from like a European chocolate.
Yeah.
But that chocolate is definitely there. And the mouthfeel is really, really good.
A great mouthfeel.
Yeah, really, really good mouthfeel.
It hung on my tongue even after it was gone for a very long time.
Yeah, absolutely. This is by far the best Woodford I've ever had.
Definitely.
I'm getting a little bit of spice on the finish.
Definitely spice.
A little bit of spice on the finish, a little peppery.
Mm-hmm. Are you getting a little bit of the orange bitters? I'm getting orange bitters on the finish.
I'm not getting any kind of like citrus orange, anything like that I would consider orange. But yeah, that is that's actually really good.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Considered I'm not a Woodford guy. I don't particularly like Woodford. Double oak is okay. Batch proofs are okay. But this is good.
I really like batch proof. The double oak is like, hey, I'm out somewhere, they don't have a lot of good bourbon, or the bourbon's overpriced. Double oak is always my drink of choice because it's a great value, and you usually get it at a reasonable price when you're out.
Yeah, this is pretty good. That's I might have to get a bottle of this if I come across it. For sure.
I'm getting some citrus on this thing.
So Paul says it's the highest proof that they've released.
That's 100% true.
Is it?
Highest proof Woodford has ever released.
Steven, cheers. Oh, he's at the plant. He's at the power plant.
Okay.
He won't be drinking with us. Yeah, so that's the highest proof Woodford they've ever released, huh?
Yep.
Huh. 139.4. Well, it's almost hazmat. I mean, it's almost right there by hazmat.
And it has a smooth finish. But on
it's not over ethanol. It's not
but on that front, like as soon as you get it in, you know it's high proof.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know this is a high proofer.
You can feel it in your mouthfeel, but what it doesn't do is it doesn't have that like ethanol burn from like a young or cheap alcohol. So it's high proof. You can tell it's high proof, but it doesn't have that gasoline tone to it.
I'm getting a very small Kentucky hug. Nothing big that you would expect out of 139 proof.
It comes about right here.
Yeah.
It sits right about there. It's about as far as it goes. Yeah. To be that, it does not drink its proof. I guess what I'm trying to say.
It does not.
Like I wouldn't think this is almost 140 for sure. Drinks well under that.
I've had some Old Forester barrel proofs that drink a little warmer than this. Yeah,
I have too.
I've had some stags that drink a little hotter than this.
Yep. That's pretty darn good pour. All right. Who out there has had this? Any of you guys had that chocolate whisper redo? Hi, lip service crew. How you doing? I know Brian's driving. I think he's had it. I don't know if any of you rest of you have tried it yet or not. And what's your take on it? That's my first try at it. But yeah, that's pretty good. I have to agree with Jeff and Charlie from the Bourbon and Balls. That's an excellent bottle.
It's an excellent bottle. I do want to see maybe have a little bit more of it before I argue that it could be a whiskey of the year.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd put it in that category yet, but it's very good. But
very good.
I would have to wait and see. It's a wait and see if it would go in whiskey of the year for me.
Yeah, you know, like last year, we had the Russell's 15.
Yeah,
and like the day we had it,
we knew it was going to be a contender.
Yeah,
for sure.
When you smelled it, you knew it was going to be a contender. Yeah. When you tasted it, you're like, "Oh my god!"
Am I going to be at the Liquor Barn drop next Friday? Is there a Liquor Barn drop next Friday?
I don't know about that.
I will be at Hard Truth doing a barrel pick next Friday, so I will not be at Liquor Barn.
I won't be there either. I didn't even know there was one next Friday.
I know there was one this past Saturday. And you went to that one.
I was there last Saturday.
Yeah.
And struck out big time. You know, I rolled in at 6:15, 6:30. They start handing out tickets at early. You know, probably a bad idea for me to get my bracelet right away because I probably was in the bottom of that thing. I hope they shook it up well, but they didn't pull my number. The best thing that happened out of me being one of the first few people in the door was that I bought a 175 of Eagle Rare for $99. You can't beat that.
Yeah, that's MSRP.
Yeah, I walked out of there cheap with a 175 of Eagle Rare.
Yeah. That's nice, but I don't know if that's worth a trip down to Lexington.
It is not. So. But luckily, I was going there to pick up other bottles.
Yeah, you're getting other bottles, yeah. I know Trevor, who's, if he's still in the chat, went to the Union Kroger drop.
Okay.
That was last week, which I did want to go to, but it was middle of the week. I just couldn't make it down. And he got a Thomas H. Handy. His number got pulled. That's a fantastic bottle.
That's a fantastic bottle.
Sir Real says Liquor Barn in Fort Thomas is having a grand reopening. Samples and drops all day. Yeah, I won't be able to make it. I'm going to be in Nashville, Indiana. We're going to be doing a barrel pick on Friday. If it was Saturday, I'd be there. Yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, I won't be there on Friday.
I've been doing a lot of travel lately, so I think my wife will kill me if I tell her I'm going to another
one.
Yeah, and she could be in here, babe. I love you. I swear.
Can you grab me another Glen? I want to grab yourself a fresh Glen for this seal box. So I've talked about American light whiskey before. Really, all of the aged American light whiskey that we're seeing on the market is all from MGP. Right. So in the 90s, what happened is when bourbon was really on the downward slope, and clear spirits were very popular, they started making the American light whiskey because they wanted to be something with a higher barrel entry proof. Right. So that's when they did that, because they're going in at 120 that bourbon goes in. It goes in at like 160.
Yeah.
So it's lighter in color. They used barrels, and they made a whole bunch of it over there at Seagram's at the time.
Right.
And they still had the barrels. So now you're seeing people buy those barrels and they're bottling it. And that's what you're seeing from like Penelope, that's MGP stuff. The Kings that I have, the Evernorth, it's all MGP. And so is this, right? Yeah. So this is Sealbox just did their own kind of brand.
Right.
Right.
And Sealbox releases a lot of different things. This is one that they got, and it's all sourced juice. So they just released, which I didn't get. I wish I had, 15-year buff turkey. That I heard
those are real popular.
I heard that it's fabulous. But they have a lot of things in between. They do 8 years and 9 years and 15 years. But this 20-year American light whiskey, I'm like, I can't let this one go.
No, that's I bet I don't know. I bet there weren't very many bottles of that. I don't remember like seeing it drop or hearing anything about it. So it can't be too many 20 years coming out of the barrel, I wouldn't think.
Right.
Trevor, I guess Sir Will, you gave Trevor a heads up. He'll be over there Friday at the Liquor Barn drop. Okay. You ready to go ahead and give this open?
Let's give it a whirl. Oh, we're rooting for a better pop.
Yeah, here we go.
Had a nice wax ring. We got that off already. Better
go.
Pop.
Yeah, I saw the liquid come flying out. So, you got some good suction in there.
I'm a big American Light fan. 142 proof.
I've really been enjoying the American Light whiskeys I've had. Oh. This one's going to have to sit for a while. This one's a high proof and old. It's going to have to sit in the glass a little bit.
When you smell it, you can tell that it's old.
Yeah, I've been enjoying them. It's like something I've been looking at, trying to find which places do barrel picks for it.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of them.
Penelope's pushing some barrel picks of their American Light whiskey.
I sent them an email. They said you're going to have to go on a waiting list just to get and like talk to you to get a spot to do a pick. So they're backed up right now.
Yeah. Some of the bourbon TikTokers over there they did a Penelope American Light Whiskey that they're releasing tomorrow at noon. It's 17 years, 142 proof. So very interesting on that pick. So I have an alarm set. We'll see if I decide to go on and grab one of those tomorrow.
Oh
yeah.
Oh, that smells great.
Yeah.
Sugar Kitty. Yeah. So Cat's Eye Obtainium. I have a bottle of Obtainium light whiskey that was aged 28 years in Stitzel-Weller barrels. And it's 160 proof. So yeah, we've got a Cat's Eye. I was texting with Devin today, and he's like, when he gets back next year, he wants to do a light whiskey pick.
Yeah.
So he was like, maybe we could do Cat's Eye. And I said, well, we'll have to look and see what they have available.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can tell you, I've had that 160 proof Obtainium. Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's actually Canadian whiskey. I think the 28 years Canadian whiskey, but still, it's fantastic.
It's fantastic. Aged in Stitzel-Weller barrels.
I think that's what does it.
Yeah, and another cool bottle you have. He has a 1970 Old Fitz.
Yeah, Old Fitz 7-year from 1970, and that was Stitzel-Weller. It was when Stitzel-Weller was still in business.
When you smell that 1970 Old Fitz, and another one that you have, the Old Fitz 13 VBS.
Yep.
That bottle, the 1970 Old Fitz, and this 28-year Obtainium, they all smell exactly the same.
And they all have
noses,
a very similar profile.
Very similar profile, very different proofs, but they're all fabulous.
Yeah, so that Stitzel-Weller barrel absolutely makes a difference with that Obtainium that we have. And you're right, you can tell that that's where it came from. That profile's very close to an actual Stitzel-Weller. So that's got a great nose. There's a lot of fruit. That's very fruity on
great nose. So I know Todd's going to probably introduce this later, but I'll let him talk about it a little bit. But at some point, we coordinate schedules. We're going to do a video for light whiskey. Yeah,
so I want to do a American light whiskey blind because between the two of us, we got about 5 different bottles of aged American light whiskey. Yeah. So whenever we can get together and coordinate that, I want to shoot that video. I really want to give that a try. I'm very much getting to this American light whiskey. I think it's making a little bit of a come up. It's getting on the come up.
Absolutely,
as the kids would say.
Yeah, I wish I a little bit. I have the Penelope 15-year, the Penelope 17-year. Unfortunately, I don't have that Penelope 13-year. Had a sample of it. It's really good. 15 and 17-year beat it. We have the CO Box American Light Whiskey. And then I went up and did a pick up at Evernorth. And I got an American Light Whiskey from the Bourbon Junkies up there. So got to hang out with Dan up there a little bit, do a pick up there with him. And so I have another American Light Whiskey.
And I have the King 17-year.
We got the King 17-year. So we'll get to try some American Light Whiskey and see what we think.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for that. Sugar Kitty, light whiskey, a backbone triple down light whiskey finished in stout barrels. Ooh, I don't know about finished in stout barrels.
Yeah.
The only thing I've had finished in beer barrels has been an Elijah Craig, one of the grenades that was finished in a beer barrel, and I did not like it.
Sugar Kitty, I 100% would try that though.
Oh, I'd try it.
Yeah. I would give that a whirl. Yeah. It sounds very interesting. I would love to try it before I buy it. That would be one that I would be like, oh, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
But I do, I haven't tasted it yet, but the nose on this is fantastic.
Yeah, it's got a really nice nose. I get a lot of fruit on there. I'm getting almost like a lemon.
Yeah. Ton of fruit. Some citrus. And I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but these are some of the notes that I get off of Old Fitz. I know this is an Old Fitz product, but this is just a really fruity, great smell. Oh, man.
It's very, very fruity on there. This is a lot fruitier than the Penelope or the Kings.
Yeah. I'm loving the smell on this.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the legs on there. You can see the
legs.
You can see the oil in there.
It's just running down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're just joining, we are about to try the Sillbox 20-year American light whiskey at 142 proof. Ready to give it a try?
I'm ready. Cheers.
Cheers. Hot, but it's not 142 proof hot.
It is not 142 proof hot.
I'm getting like a lot of oak and barrel char on the finish of that.
I could smell the oak, and now I could taste the oak.
Yeah. I don't get the fruitiness I had on the nose, my palate, though.
No, I agree.
But I might have to go back for another. I have to kind of let it hit my palate first.
Yeah, that one, unfortunately, when I took that sip, hit the back of my palate. So I need to go back in and let it wash across the front of my palate a little bit more. But so I didn't get the fruit either.
Welcome, Matt. You're just joining. Matt's, Matt.
I know Matt.
He's in our club. He's in our club. Yeah. So we're trying a 20-year-old American light whiskey, 142 proof, some seal box. Matt loves the Obtainium. He was actually, when Devin and I first found it, he was there with us on that trip, and he tried it at the bar with us where we found that Obtainium. Most light whiskey tastes under its proof. Yeah. That's actually been my experience as well.
That Penelope, what was it, 138? Mm-hmm. Nowhere near 138.
Well, that Obtainium,
oh my God,
doesn't taste anywhere near 160.
No.
Now I'm starting to get, like, after having it on my palate, I can pick up that oak.
Yeah.
On the nose.
I picked up the oak from the first sniff. I pulled it out. I couldn't wait. I didn't let any ethanol get out of there. I'm like, let me go in, and I could pick up that oak right away. And nose, tasting it, you get a ton of oak.
Yeah. So. Go back in for another sip. Now I get some citrus on the mid palate. I'm getting a little of that, like, lemon meringue, something like that on the mid palate.
I'm definitely getting some fruit. Not as strong as the nose.
Not as strong as the nose, no,
but
not at all.
Definitely getting some oak is, like, very prominent.
Yeah, the finish strong. There's a lot of oak and char on the finish for sure. You'd love to find the Obtainium that Devin and I got. Yeah, that one was fantastic. Yeah. That I don't know how much of that Stitzelweller aged stuff they have coming out there from Cat's Eye. I have seen another bottle of it aged 29 years, so it wasn't from the same batch as ours, but aged in Stitzelweller. So.
I would love to have one of those bottles too, Paul. It's fabulous. So
if you don't mind me asking, how much was this?
$199.
So it's $200 bottle.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess you're looking at $10 a year, they say, right?
Yeah.
20 years old.
Yeah.
So,
I knew I wanted to try it. Like I said, I'm a big fan of American Light. I was a little disappointed that a 17-year Penelope American Light was, what was it, 99? 99 plus tax. This one is $199. Plus tax and shipping. So, I was a little bit disappointed that the price jump was $199.
I think anything you get from Sillbox like that, any of their special releases, they're going to mark it up. I mean, just the fact that it's shipping from wherever in the country, out of DC or wherever the heck they're at.
But I'm happy with it. You know,
very good.
Add another American Light to my selection. I can get bourbon every day. It's very hard to find American Light.
It's not very hard to find out there, especially
a 20-year-old American Light.
Not aged. I've seen there are some distilleries who have younger American Light whiskey, which makes me think maybe it's not MGP, because I've seen some. There was a distillery over in PA that has like a 6-year. So I'm thinking that might be their own stuff, which would be interesting to maybe try. I don't know. The YouTuber Obtainium pick was Brian Candy at 156 proof. Did you actually had it, Sugar Kitty? You got to try it? I'd love to try that. 156 proof.
Would love to try it.
Like I said, the highest I've had is that Obtainium that I've got. That's 160.
Yeah, 160.
Yeah.
Now, back in the day, I might shoot some Everclear, but
yeah, but that's just like drinking gas.
Yeah, I was in my 20s, but just sitting back having a sip of something that was very smooth. That 160 proof Obtainium.
Yeah, you actually sip it.
Yeah, you can sip that. Can't sip a lot of it, but you can sip that.
It's fantastic. This is very good. I actually like this a lot. Yeah. I get a little bit of that lemon and then like oak and char, but it's just very nice. So it makes my mouth feel like cleansed almost.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like it's got a nice, just lingering mouthfeel.
Yeah. And that's what I get out of American Light. It's like, it just gives you a nice feeling, cleansed palate, a lot lighter than, these bourbons. The chocolate redo, very good. A lot heavier than what we're drinking now. But it's both good pours in different ways.
Yeah, completely different palates. I mean, they're nothing like each other at all. But yeah, an Obtainium pick. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe have to contact Cat's Eye, see what's going on. Like I said, Devin, when I was texting him today, said he wants to do a light whiskey pick.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Count me in on that one.
I have to see who else has light whiskeys that can do picks. I know if you can get in with Penelope, Evernorth. I don't know how old Evernorth's stuff is, the barrels they have,
I don't know
how
either.
much they have.
I think their barrels are a little bit younger. I think they're, I think the one that we picked was around 7 years.
Okay, so that was definitely a younger one.
Yeah.
Then. Yeah, but it'll be next year anyway because Devin won't get back till February.
Yeah.
But next week, I'll be down there doing that hard truth pick, Bryant. So we're going to be going down there. We got a great group that we got from our Patreons that are going to be joining us. And we are going to do a barrel of a sweet mash rye. So a single barrel sweet mash rye pick.
That's going to be a cool pick.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And we're going to have a good time down there. We'll eat at the restaurant. We're going to take like an ATV tour of the farms and stuff. Right. It's going to be a good time. But most importantly, I like Hard Truth, and I like their sweet mash rye. And I think I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a great pick.
Well, you can count me in for that pick. I'm excited about it. And believe it or not, I don't think I have any Hard Truth.
I know you've had it here. I've had all my bottles.
I definitely have had Hard Truth. I don't think I own any Hard Truth.
Well,
so
you need to buy one.
This is going to be my first Hard Truth, and it'll be your pick. So,
so
I'm excited to get that in there. And it's funny that I don't have Hard Truth, any Hard Truth at all, because I have a pretty good collection. Either way you want to call it, but my first one.
You don't see a ton of it here in Ohio,
right?
I mean, we just don't see a lot of. They don't have a large distribution here. So, and when you're in Kentucky, you're not really looking for stuff that may be on the shelf, right? And they don't really have allocated stuff. So, yeah. But a lot of the bottles I have, even when I've been down in Kentucky, I have like the 4-grain bourbon and like the wheated. I've seen the wheated a few times, but like that 4-grain, I don't even think I've seen it in Kentucky.
Okay.
So.
Love the nose on this.
Yeah, it's got a very good nose. Very intoxicating.
Wow.
Thank you, Paul. Paul's probably got to get going to his bowling.
Oh, bowling tonight.
Bowling on Thursday. He'll get his Weller Foolproof pick that the bowling alley has.
Paul have a Weller Foolproof for me. I don't think I've had a Weller Foolproof in maybe. Did we? No, I think we drank it the one night we did live together about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think we did.
Maybe about 3 weeks ago I had that, but before that I don't think I had Weller Foolproof in a while.
I don't drink the Weller bottles very often. When I do, I probably drink more antiques than anything. Even though I've got all the bottles,
I
seems to be the one I drink the most.
I think I teeter back and forth between Weller 12 and Foolproof the most. I've actually I've had the same bottle of Weller Antique open for about a year.
Really?
Yeah. Now there's only about this much in there, but I bounce between so many bottles. I use Weller 12 as a starter.
Yeah,
It's my first pour of the night. It has some age on it, just so light proof.
Since we were talking about it, let's go ahead and have a pour of this Obtainium. So it is aged 28 years in Stitzel Weller barrels, and it is 160 proof. I don't even know if you can see that on camera. You have to take my word for
it. So I have a confession. So while you were talking about it, I don't know if you noticed, but I was like looking for it because
it was over there somewhere.
I was gonna go get this bottle. Like this is one of my favorite bottles that you have. Like I'm like he's gonna keep talking about it. I'm gonna go get this bottle. So I appreciate you grabbing it because I couldn't find it.
David's doing a poor man's Pappy.
Oh, very nice.
Weller 12 and 107. I think the poor man's Pappy may be better together than they are individually. So, I actually like that blend a lot.
So I have about a quarter of a bottle of Weller 12 left. I have about a very small bit of Antique left. I'm thinking about doing a poor man Pappy and just letting it sit there for a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you finish that off. So
yeah, mine's been open. I've got about that much left in my poor man. I made a whole bottle of poor man's Pappy, and I got about that much left in it, and it's been open for like a year at least now. But it's very good. It's a very good blend. Trevor, everyone in Ohio knows OWA is for trading, not sipping. Well, I still sip on it. I'll still drink it. So.
Trevor, I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm just saying. But, I like I said, I've had a bottle open for a while. And, I by no means, I'm not a really big trader. But I can't say that OWA hasn't helped me to get some really good bottles.
Those bottles you just can't get.
Some bottles you just can't get. Yeah.
You got to trade for. And we actually made a video with Patrick last week. It hasn't come out yet about the bottles I've did the most in trade for. My most out of the pocket for trade.
Yeah.
We did a video on it because there's some stuff you can't get unless you win a lottery.
Yeah.
So you prefer the 107, David?
107 is good.
I agree. I like the 107 a lot. Foolproof is probably my favorite, but the 107 is just a really, really nice, just easy sipper. The rest of us don't live in Wellerland. You're not sugar kidding. We here in Ohio, the Special Reserve and the 107, the red antique, whatever you want to people call it outside of Ohio. Yeah, we get a ton of it.
Yeah, we
do. We really do
a ton of it. I don't even want to tell you guys like at one point how much Weller Red I had, but it is very plentiful here in Ohio, and that is a good thing for us, especially as we can never ever walk into a store and buy a George T. Stagg.
Yeah,
we can never
buy any of that.
You can never get a Heaven Hill 18, 17, 19, 20. It's good to have Weller.
Now other places can do it. What? You're talking which the antique? Which Weller are you talking about?
She has to be talking to antique.
Antique. I would think that would be like CYP. No, CYP is a lot more, right? So maybe foolproof. 200.
Foolproof is about 200.
Foolproof.
Foolproof is about 200. 180 to 200. Yeah.
I've had all of the Weller, like the Rainbow, and none of them are actually worth that much. Don't spend that much on them. All Weller. God, that's crazy. It's crazy how much that stuff gets marked up. It really is.
Now
that's even more expensive than I see at Kentucky because I see the antiques in Kentucky like 150, 160.
I was at a store Saturday. They were selling in Kentucky. They were selling antique for $90. Which is a great price for Kentucky.
Yeah, that's actually a really good price. if I didn't have one, I saw it for $90, I'd pay $90 for one.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay $190. That's crazy. So this is so different from that sale box. This doesn't have the fruit on it all. This one's a little sweeter.
They're so much sweeter.
It's got a lot of like sweet oak is what it is.
And it's 28 years old. And I know I've already tasted this, but even on the nose, it's a lot lighter than what this steel box is.
Yeah.
The steel box really did have a really deep oak charred nose and palate. Even though this is older, it honestly, you look at the two and you smell the steel box, and I'm saying that it's oakier and that, but it's a little more offensive oakiness as compared to this Obtainium. This Obtainium is just such a refined oak.
I got so much fruit on that sale box I just don't get on this. This is like just a sweetness.
Yeah.
And that it's hard to if you've had like a Stitzel Weller, like an actual something distilled by Stitzel Weller, it has a really unique palate to it. Out from any other like bourbon I tried, like that's out on the market today, and it's something really unique in the nose and on the palate from Stitzel Weller. CYPB $299 is actually cheap. I've seen CYPB $900 in Kentucky.
Wait till you read the comment above that.
Weller Special Reserve for $150. Are you kidding me?
While he's talking, I'm reading. I'm reading some of the comments here.
Oh my God, that is ridiculous. And Trevor lives right on the border. He lives down in Cincinnati area, so he's got both sides, Kentucky and here. So he definitely knows the difference. That's crazy. That had to be one of those. What do they call it? Ligma Town or whatever they call it, the Ligma Spirits or whatever.
I don't think I can wait any longer, buddy.
All right, let's go.
Cheers. Oh.
Yeah, that doesn't drink anywhere close to 160 proof.
It doesn't drink anywhere close to
I don't know. I think that might drink less than the seal box did.
Oh, 100%.
But the seal box tasted more ethanol heavy than this does.
Yeah, and when we do, that American light, and I know this is a Canadian light whiskey, this can't be anywhere near it because it is so much better than almost any light whiskey that I've ever had. This is just a fabulous pour.
It's got to be just the fact that it's in those barrels.
Yeah,
that's all I can think of. I haven't had a ton of Canadian whiskey, but nothing like this.
Oh, I've had a ton of Canadian whiskey. It was not light whiskey, and after getting into bourbon, I just realized that Crown Royal was. Even though I love it, I still drink Crown Royal, by the way, but it is nowhere near a good whiskey.
No.
I always keep a little bit of Crown Royal on hand.
He says that Weller Special Reserve was a stored by his parents in Maryland. Most expensive bottle I've ever seen on the shelf was in Ocean City, Maryland, and it was a Weller 12 for $2,400.
Oh my God! Wow,
$2,400 for a Weller 12 in Ocean City on the boardwalk. That was ridiculous. Yeah, this is just fantastic. Every time I have it, I come back to remember how good it was. Like I don't drink it often. It's the only bottle I have. I know I won't find another one. And it's so high proof that you don't want to sip a whole bunch of it.
Yeah. I love this is one of my favorite bottles. I wish it was my bottle, but it's one of my favorite bottles. Just such a unique pour. Has very distinct flavoring. So the mouthfeel is so great. Like as it's going down, you almost just want to pucker your mouth because the feel of it is you just want to just taste every inch of it. This is just a great pour.
It is a great pour. It really is. It was $250 for this bottle. Which I don't know. I get 28 years in a barrel, $250.
I 100%.
Yeah.
Not only would I buy one of those, if I had
you buy all those.
I would buy the case of those. So I didn't see my wife comment. If you're on there, I would not buy the case bag. I promise. I would only get one.
He's exaggerating. He wouldn't buy the whole case. Mm. Yeah, it's just amazing to be 160 proof how that drinks. And it's really even more mellow now than when we first tried it.
Absolutely.
Because you were here when I fresh cracked that. Yeah, we fresh cracked that with you. Yeah.
We've done some great fresh cracks together.
We have. We really have.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. That is so good. All right. Well, makes me sad whenever I drink something like that. You know, when you get that bottle that's really, really good, and you're like, I know I'll never get another one.
Yeah.
And you drink it and you're like, it's so good, but I know I'll never get another one.
You know you're never getting another one of these.
That's like my 2023 Stag's got like about a pour left. Yeah. I'm just so hesitant to finish off that last pour because I won't get another one.
You won't get another one, but you can have another one because I have one at home that's not open. So at least you get. I've had enough pours of yours. You're welcome to any of the pours of mine. So.
Oh, that's so good. That is so good. I'm gonna have to check more in the Cat's Eye Distillery, I think.
Cheers, Mr. Mom.
Cheers, Mr. Mom from Oklahoma.
All right.
You guys had some pretty bad storms, I think, down there, didn't they? Did you guys have some pretty bad storms yesterday in that area? I think. I'm not sure. Well, they have the chocolate redo next weekend at Woodford.
They've had it for a while. Yeah, they had it this past Saturday. So I would expect to see it again. In a 2 days from now. Today's Thursday, so I would expect to see it again. It was 100% there. I should have went to Woodford because then I could have brought some back for the group. But I didn't go. But I ended up with a bottle. So
I'll tell you what, David. I know that if you call Woodford, they will tell you what they have.
Okay.
They're not like one of the ones that you have to come see. That they'll generally say, "We have this today." If you ask them, do you have the chocolate redo? They'll tell you yes or no. So what you might want to do Saturday morning when you wake up, give them a call.
Yeah.
See if you want to make the trip over there.
I really should have went over there, but we're and I'm sure Todd has talked about it. We're in Northeast Ohio. I still had a 5-hour drive.
Yeah.
Home from Lexington, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going home. So.
Yeah. It's still a long drive for us to get down to Kentucky, even though I know like my wife and I do it quite a bit. You do it quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it's still a heck of a haul, and usually it's you got to get a hotel and stay a night and come back the next day. So it's still ends up being a 2-day thing. At least whenever we do, it does. Not very often do we go down there and come right back.
Crazily, I go down there and come right back very often. And then which is crazy. And then luckily the samples are small, but I have a couple stores that I go to there. And the owners of the stores are just great people. And every time I come in, they're like, hey, you got to try some pours with me. I'm going to just show you what we're doing. So I get to try a lot of different pours of things they have coming up and barrel picks that they've done. So I get to try them a little bit early. So there's a Chick-fil-A in Lexington. I go there every single time that I'm there because I'm like, I have a long drive back. Let's eat some food, relax a little bit, and then get on the road.
So Lexington actually has Renee's and I's favorite restaurant in all of Kentucky, Carson's.
Okay.
Carson's downtown is our favorite restaurant in Kentucky. So if you ever get a chance, you want to sit down and have an actual sit-down meal, go there and get their buttermilk fried chicken with their pork belly gravy. It is absolutely amazing.
Sounds delicious.
Yep. Let's see. Sir Real says he's in Ohio, but you can see the Bourbon Tucky from your front door. So he's down there right down there in Southern Ohio. Yeah, we're up closer to Lake Erie, so we got a haul just to get down. It's what, 3.5 hours to Cincinnati?
About 3 hours.
3 hours to Cincinnati.
3 hours to Cincinnati, and maybe 3:15. The traffic is
depends on traffic when you go to depends on Columbus.
Yeah.
Depends on traffic in Columbus.
Well, I don't know. Like you get to Cincinnati, but you can't get through Cincinnati. The Cincinnati traffic is always bad. So.
I actually have worse time in Columbus than I do Cincinnati. Seems like there's more construction along the interstate and going through, trying to get through downtown Columbus.
I think I timed. I lived in Columbus for a while, so I think I just timed Columbus well all the time. I don't time Cincinnati well. This time they pushed me off at Dana Avenue, and I had to take a few different roads to get over to Kentucky, and then I got over by Florence, and I was in more traffic. But that's how I go.
No, it was a real pain here the last like 3 or 4 times you went because the bridge was down. And so they had to reroute you because that bridge caught on fire.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Okay.
So you had to like reroute and go downtown and go across another bridge or whatever. It was a big mess. But the bridge is fixed now. It was fixed the last time I went down for the New Riff barrel pick.
Okay.
They had it open. But yeah, all the time we spend in Kentucky, I wish I lived down that way.
I wish I lived there too.
Yeah. I would love to live in like a southern part of Kentucky. So I could be like close to Tennessee and Kentucky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like give me Elizabeth, in between Elizabeth and Bardstown and Nashville, somewhere in between there. That way I could head down to like Jack Daniels, or I could head up to Louisville or something.
I went to Nashville August last year, and along that trail between Elizabethtown and Nashville, there were so many nice stops. Exit 1, as soon as you get in Kentucky, off of there, oh my God, that store there was great. I found an old Carter KY3 there for like $200, which is
where was that again?
Exit 1.
Exit 1?
Right when you get into Kentucky, or the last exit in Kentucky. So you're in between Elizabethtown and Nashville. Just a lot of good stores. I stopped at a lot of stores on the way, and I got a lot of cool bottles along the way too.
Yeah.
Stopped at John O's in Elizabethtown.
Love John O's. Love John O's. So real is an hour from Buffalo Trace, hour and 30 from Heaven Hill, and an hour 15 from Turkey. So he's right there in that zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice spot to live if you're hunting down some bourbon. Yeah. That's for sure.
We're about an hour and a half from Middle West Spirits.
Yeah,
it's down in Columbus. So depending on how fast you drive, hour and a half, hour 45 minutes, you could be at Middle West Spirits.
Yeah, so that's like you said, down there by Columbus. I have not been to Middle West yet. I need to reach out to them and see if they would let us come in and do a video. I've been to Watershed. I've done a barrel pick at Watershed, which is also down in that same area.
Yeah. I've been to Watershed too. I've had a bunch of Middle West Spirits, but haven't been to the distillery. One that I really want to get to is High Banks.
That's down there too. Yeah,
right down there too. So, and if you haven't had High Banks is really good. They
had the double oak. Somebody sent me a blind, like a craft blind that we did, and that won it for me. That was my number one. Was that High Banks double oak? Really good.
They do some unique things. Some Amberano finish, some cigar blend. So they have some unique spirits over at High Banks. So if you guys haven't tried High Banks, it's a good Ohio distillery. Definitely worth it.
So here's a thing from Trevor to avoid some traffic. I don't even know. 71 south, take 471, get to 275 to get to 75. That I would get completely lost. I follow maps when I drive. I do what the maps tells me to do. I'm like Michael Scott. I'll turn right into a lake. So, it says go left. That's where I'm going.
So Trevor, I did exactly that though. Not this past weekend when I was there, but the last time I was there before that, there was a lot of traffic and it routed me that way. So I drove past the airport. You're 100% right. I avoided tons of traffic, and it put me way on the other side of Kentucky. So like by the time I got off, I'm like 40 minutes from Lexington. So it was a really good shortcut. You don't even drive past the Costco in Florence. You skip all of that.
So you're not going down. Was that 71?
Yeah.
Through there.
Yeah.
John says High Banks has a great restaurant and bar at their facility. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've done a couple of Ohio distilleries. Like we did Western Reserve, we did Lake Erie. We want to do some more Ohio distilleries. Just kind of go out and film there and hit them up, and just kind of put it out there to people. I know with Lake Erie specifically, the single barrel strength bourbon we got from them, I've sent out to some other channels to try, and everybody's liked it. Yeah. People are like, "What is this?" and they've never heard of it. So it's almost like it's kind of like a little backyard secret we have here. I thought it was pretty good too. That's why I sent it out. But I'm definitely interested in getting out to some more of these Ohio distilleries and giving them a try.
Yeah, and maybe that's one thing that maybe we should do this year as a club. Maybe let's hit an Ohio distillery. There's a bunch of them in Columbus. High Banks, we've talked about some of them. High Banks,
Echo's out there, yeah.
Watershed. I mean,
Middle West.
Middle West. Like, we have some good options to really just make a day of it in Columbus and hit maybe 2 distilleries and just have a good time, and then have a massive bottle share.
Yeah.
Figure it out. My wife and kids can come because they don't have to come to the bottle.
Yeah, they can stay in the
hotel. But we can do the rest of the stuff together. Yeah.
I'd be up for that. That sounds like it'd be a fun time.
Yeah, it sounds like a good plan.
Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll start reaching out more to some of these Ohio distilleries to see if they have any interest in us coming in, like, as a channel and filming, and maybe we can set something up. We'll see. Mr. Mom, you're an Amberana fan. So the only Amberana I've had that I really like is the Rio.
Yeah. And
that's Amberana and honey finished. So it's both. But I'm a fan of the Rio. It's a really nice dessert pour. I like that as a dessert pour.
My first Amberano was RD1 Amberano.
Okay.
And I really like the RD1 Amberano. Very different take on Amberano than what Penelope did. Penelope batch 1 and 2 I thought was really good. I think as we moved into batch 3, not as good. Where do you have to batch 5 now?
4 came out. Is the one that came out this year.
So I heard 4 was better.
Okay. So 2 is what I have open.
Yeah.
2 is what I've been drinking.
I have 2 open. I've had pours from 1. I think I have a 3 open, and then I have 2 4. So, do you have the 4?
I do not. I didn't get it this year because I have a bottle of the 2 and a bottle of the 3 not open. Yeah. So I didn't bother getting the next one.
At some point we'll try the 4 together. So
all right. He said he's not had the Rio. He has the RD1. He likes that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Rio was my favorite of the Amberanas.
I thought the RD1 was a good take on Amberano finish. Like, it introduced me to it. It's not overly sweet, really good. I've tried some of the rare character rye Amberano. I actually have like 2 or 3 of those bottles. Not my favorite take on Amberano. I
don't know if I would like rye with an Amberano and a rye. Yeah. Those two seem to be clashing.
Yeah.
David said living in Louisville is good and bad. Well, living in Louisville, you got access to the distilleries.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And you can get anything you want if you're willing to pay it, because you can get any. I've seen every bottle in the world in Louisville.
Every single one.
Yeah, they're just $1,500 for a lot of them. So yeah, I agree. I see where you say there's the good and the bad, but I think having access to the distilleries would be great. But yeah, the pricing is kind of off the charts in Louisville. And one Amberana I had that I did like was the Fiddler.
Okay, I haven't tried
Fiddler. The Fiddler, like Georgia Heartwood Amberana or whatever, was pretty good. I've had that one. Middleton Method and Madness Irish Amberana. I have not heard of that one. That's new to me.
That is new to me too.
Yeah, I've not heard that.
I guess
there's so much out there.
One of the coolest things that's happening today. My first YouTube live with you guys. I've done TikTok lives, and I do a lot more on TikTok. But the YouTube group here has a really expansive palette. So you guys are talking about
Scotch and Irish and everything
like things
else
that I haven't tried. So I'm loving that. So you guys are fancy over here on YouTube, and I like that. So
we are worldly and wealthy.
Yeah. You're classy.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, I actually went on live with Brian on TikTok, and we were going to go on for a couple hours, and we ended up doing like 6 hours.
Yep. Yeah, 6 hours on live on TikTok, which we had a really good time. And
it's a lot of drinking.
A lot of drinking, and we went live at 8:00, and no joking, we look up and it's like 1:30 in the morning, and I'm like, God, I think I need to tap out. Like, my wife was like, where the heck are you at? So so we I wrapped it up. I hear somebody stayed on.
I was out for another few hours. Yeah.
TikTok crew to 2-3 in the morning. So but it was a really good time. The time went by so fast.
It really did go by fast.
Yeah.
It really was. It was a lot of drinking.
Yeah.
So time goes by fast.
We drank a lot of bottles, and we had a really good time.
Yeah, but we invited a lot of other people on. So that's the thing about TikTok is you have, people can come and join in your live.
Yeah.
And so we had a bunch of other people come and join in, which was pretty neat.
Absolutely.
And one of the guys that I met who does TikTok and has just started YouTube, I'm actually going to go meet in Louisville when we're down there.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, one of the times I was in Louisville with my wife and kids, I look at this TikTok video, and like all of these bourbon TikTokers are in Louisville. So I messaged one of them, one of the guys that actually came on. And I'm like, hey, are you guys in Louisville? They're like, yeah, we're at a meetup. So I get to go to, I went to Neat and met a bunch of the bourbon TikTokers and just a lot of cool people there, and, a lot of big names. And that's the thing that I really do like about TikTok is, you have your big names that a lot of folks have heard from Instagram and YouTube, Kevin C and Ryan, that dude Ryan, like on TikTok, like they're messaging you and they're telling you about the things they're doing, and that's how I know Ryan is releasing that 17-year American Light 142 proof tomorrow. Like, it's just a lot of good conversation over there. Mm-hmm. But I'm meeting a lot of cool people on YouTube, so it's good to have some friends over here already.
Yeah. John, you may be right. Maybe it wasn't the Georgia Heartwood. It was an ASW Fiddler, and it was Amberana finished. So maybe Georgia Heartwood I shouldn't have thrown in there, but it was an ASW Fiddler that was Amberana. I had a sample of.
Okay, got it.
David B, love to meet up in Louisville after our pick. I'll be there that Saturday after. Send me an email, and we'll try to set it up. I mean, I'll be in Louisville, so we'll eat lunch somewhere. Yeah. Go have a pour. Like I said, I'm meeting up with one of the TikTokers there.
Yeah.
So just contact me, reach out. We'll see what we can do.
My favorite place to drink in Louisville is Evergreen.
Because they have pretty reasonable prices on their pours. Yeah. They have pretty reasonable prices on their stuff. Yeah. Down in Nulu District. I like to go the one down in Nulu District.
Yeah. Which one did I? Yeah, I think that might have been the one that I went to. Yeah. You go down there and you get a pour of Pappy for $25, and
that's where I had my first ever. Renee and I had our first ever birthday bourbon.
Okay.
So you got to pour at Evergreen.
Yes. The thing that I got there first, they released the 23 Maker's Mark Cellar Age.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh.
So that was the first. That was the first one. Yeah. So
I'm
early on.
Put that in the very first one. So I had Maker's Cellar Age very early, and I'm like, oh, I need to have this bottle. 23 is a lot better than 24.
Who's dropping the American Light whiskey tomorrow? I don't know. It's already dropped here in Ohio.
That dude Ryan, one Pikey, Woodford Bourbon guy. They're all TikTok creators. So if you and Instagram creators. So if you go over and that one dude Ryan, at noon, they're doing a release. They all did this pick together. There were about 5 bourbon TikTokers that went down to American Light, and cool thing. And Penelope has a really big TikTok presence. I'm actually friends with one of their main. I don't know if he's one of their main marketing guys over there, Bourbon Jeepers, but they hired Ryan on full time. Ryan was working somewhere down in Tampa. They hired him on to work at Penelope as one of their representatives. But they all did a 17-year Penelope American Light whiskey pick.
So where are they dropping it? Is on TikTok where it's going to drop? Or so they got to have a website.
It's on a website, but you could go through their TikTok profiles to make the purchase.
Okay, so there you go. Lip service. That dude Ryan.
That dude Ryan. One Pikey, and one Pikey is Ohio guy. So you go to his site as well. But Woodford Bourbon guy. All of those guys will have a link to the purchase site.
I think I'm friends with some of them on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok enough to really remember the names, but so check out those people on TikTok. You should be able to find a link where they're going to drop it. Alyssa, if you could pick only 3 to drink the rest of the year, what would it be? Jack Daniel's 14 that I've had so far.
Jack Daniel's 14 will make my list.
Yeah.
This isn't on the list, but I love it so far. So.
Yeah. And maybe like Old Forester 1910. That's something I just always come back to. I got to have that staple opener.
3 to drink for that is a really tough question.
Yeah.
Jack 14 definitely makes my list.
Yep.
If they have to be from this year,
well, yeah.
I mean, because Russell's 15 will always make.
That's true.
The Russell's
really,
15
really that's fantastic
would
too.
always make my list. And you know, a stag pick in there. Oh my God.
That's just too hard. It's hard to pick 3.
Yeah, it is very hard to pick 3, but if I had to pick 3, I'd be very happy with those 3.
I'd be happy with the Jack 14, the 1910, and then like probably the Russell's 15.
Yeah.
So those 3 I'd be pretty good with.
No stag? Like I love stag.
I do
1910
too. But
stag?
1910. I gotta have like something. I gotta like that opener. I can't just go 130 proof every time.
So, okay.
You're right, David B. The single. So I might have to go Jack 14 single. I gotta have a rye in there.
Okay.
Single barrel proof rye, and the 1910. That might be it. That's tough. Luckily, I have over 500 bottles, so I don't have to worry about that.
Right. Well, now, if you're gonna just say I get to drink these and there's no cost involved.
Okay. Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
I'm still not gonna go crazy. How about a 1924? Like I love 1924.
That's a
great opener.
Yeah.
We don't rate it up there at the top because of the price,
right?
But it's a good pour.
Yeah, it's a great pour if you're not paying for it. It's a fantastic pour.
Yeah. Now, Alyssa, are we paying for this?
Yeah, David, you're right though. When you say when I think about it, I got to have a rye. If I'm only having 3 bottles, I need one of them to be a rye. So that would be my choice, the single barrel proof rye from Jack Daniel's. I'd want the Heroes bottle that I have though. That Heroes bottle, single barrel proof rye from the Coy Hill warehouse is absolutely fantastic. So, all right, guys, it's almost 7:30. We run over a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and end this for the night. And I'll see you again next week, and we'll have a new video posting tomorrow. And all you people who are on the pick next weekend, get ready to go and have your palates warmed up and ready.
All right. Good deal.
Until next time, remember, the best bourbon or whiskey is the one you like the most.
Have a good one. Thanks.